G'day guys, welcome to this week's weekly developer update. This is CW and joined once again by Armeanio. How are you, mate?
Doing well. Glad to be back.
Yeah, we missed you last week, so good to have your smiling face back here and delivering the weekly developer update. Exciting news. We had the announcement yesterday. Yourself sort of broadcast that on the live AMA, and for those who missed it, we do have the ErgoHack coming up.
Yep. Cypherpunk finance.
Yep.
So the goal, there is to try to follow first principles in development, and essentially what that entails is every user should have the ability to control their local state, right? And so if you want to interact with an application, if you want to interact with your wallet, if you want to do P2P or participate in DeFi or play with NFTs, the goal is to be able to do that without needing anybody's permission.
Yeah, well, that's the whole premise of this space, really, isn't it?
Well, it started with just the assumption of some kind of internet money, right? And now we have computation on top of blockchains. It's where you have a lot more variety of goods, services, economic tools, and oftentimes the first principles that started with just this concept of P2P money disappear when you get into this idea of a blockchain economy, right? And ideally, it should be a P2P economy on top of a blockchain. And so extending some of those first principles that started this industry, I think builds a stronger community and a more resilient system.
Yeah, it's very well said. And we've got a couple of suggestions here for people who may not necessarily have an idea, but it might spark some interest on their front. So we've got some ideas. So you could research in hardening proof of work and layer twos. Got hardware wallets and cold wallets. We've got a nice assortment there, but see some building out of that infrastructure would be great. Even physical erg coins. I know a number of other sort of blockchains and people within that blockchain environment have created physical coins. So that'd be a pretty cool little project for someone. P2P financial instruments, like you just touched on. Community finance, some things around Let's, for example. There's a couple of questions around that in the AMA.
Yep.
Improving on and off ramps, so BISC-like contracts. I think that's one thing that could be really beneficial for our ecosystem. Minimizing trust in cross-chain and off-chain solutions. Proof of work FI. I think that's a little bit of sort of exploration there with the SNIF side of things and the Lithos Protocol. So really be good to get some people thinking about that side. Experiments in tokenomics, and one for the sort of give some competition to the Comet crew, some degen finance.
Yeah.
So there's a number of ideas there.
Lot to play with.
Yeah, exactly. And so just around some dates and things, the hackathon itself is running from the 8th of February to the 22nd. And registration is now open and will remain open up until the day prior to the hack closing on the 21st. So that's, anyone who is willing to participate might be on the sidelines and things like that, maybe a week into the hack itself, and they actually decide to jump in and submit something. Everyone's welcome.
Yeah, it should be fun. I always like ErgoHacks, looking at the ideas and kind of the long-term scope rather than just the short-term event, to be honest, because a lot of the times there are great ideas that take time. It's like a seed. It takes time to get to the tree stage. And at some point, the community gets fruit. So I hope the community takes a lot of good ideas and, runs with them.
Yeah, well, that's a very good point also, is having a number of ideas starting in an ErgoHack. So there's been the like the sub-pooling, Excel was a participant, NightOwl, I believe. and numerous others are I'll be forgetting. Just sort of those ones popped into my head just off the top there. So
Sky Harbor.
Sky Harbor
was one.
itself, yeah. So yeah, anyone who has an idea, jump in and submit something. I really look forward to it because there is a theme, this one being the Cypherpunk finance, but ultimately anyone can submit anything they like and everything will be judged sort of on its merits and things like that. So get creative and look forward to reading the proposal.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, let's jump into the developer update itself. And kicking things off, we have Anon 2020S and the Ergo Mixer. So version 4.3.0 is out. Welcome back, Anon 2020S. Haven't seen an update for a little while. So on the change log, there's been an update for the app kit to 5.00. There's been a bug fix for converting mixing with tokens and remove redundant mixing requests due to this bug. There's been an improvement to the admin version and merged it with the main code base of the mixer. Update for the Swagger and split admin and main Swagger. There's been some updates to the front end. So update to create React app to version 5. So that's thanks to Minotaur. Update the MUI to the latest version, improve the UI. And there's been update to the Node version 16. Update for the Sigma USD scenario and remove the old WASM. There's been a fix for the shutdown problem, fixed for the installation script for the Java version and the NVM installation. There's been a minor improvement, so some cleaning of code and removing redundant functions and improved logs. There's some add the connection timeout config, and there's been a number of contributors here. So Jimmy Hopper, Reckless, Minotaur Ergo, and Anon 2020S. You can jump onto the GitHub link there, and there's a number of compiled versions, or you can build from source, etc. So they've used the Minotaur wallet's code for the Sigma USD, which uses a different scenario to interact with the SigUSD protocol. So most of the work is in the front end. And also now you can use the mixer in the admin mode. However, you do not have the UI for it at this point, so you do not have to have the keys. The UI is old and do not have time to update it, so maybe later. Anyway, you can see the codes and work with the APIs if you want, and you'll get a lot of errors in the logs due to the lack of signing power. And following on from that, we'll focus on some stealth addresses in the following days, and we'll deliver that ASAP. Pretty substantial update for the mixer there.
Absolutely. All right, next we have Ilya from Spectrum. Looks like with the Spectrum network, they've been working on the signature aggregation protocol research. The SPF token, the IDO is launched. They dropped the link at ido.spectrum.fi. With the off-chain bots, they implemented the LM pool deployer, tested LM in different scenarios and fixing the bugs that they found along the way. With the backend, they improved Ergo analytics infrastructure, increased stability and added metrics. The api.ergodex.io redirects to api.spectrum.finance now. Cleaned up old PRs in Ergo analytics and Ergo off-chain bots. Adoption chain sync protocol for Ergo analytics is a work in progress. And it looks like on the front end, the IDO UI is launched and the UI glass morphism is a work in progress.
Good to see, and congratulations on kicking off on the IDO. So if anyone's looking into that, jump onto those links that were listed there. Next up, we have HQ and ErgCube. So it's working on a download portal where people can access a Figma and Photoshop format of thumbnails that they can use for their videos. We'll add Twitter banners and create some profile pictures with Ergonaut's mascot. Having the same identity helps in kind of sense of for marketing, so people have that brand recognition there. And then it's helping Bo with his NFT tool on the front end. He's got a nice screenshot there. Thanks for the update. And next we have Greenhat and team.
So it looks like Soizor is working on precise type support for constants. Looks like Dusek is working on new types and various in-house data types. Looks like Greenhat's progress. He's drafted support for the Explorer API, fixed some issues with the JSON format, and is putting a workaround for the mixing context extension in TX input. Finished the transaction confirmation for commands in the Oracle core. Work in progress in terms of data source redundancy. Next is going to make a release and start to test the governance in the Erg and Gold pool on testnet. Just a reminder to everybody, they're running an Erg and Gold pool on testnet with 6 oracles. There's a few places left, so if you'd like to consider join their Telegram group. The current progress towards the release is tracked in the roadmap as always, so if you'd like, get on the GitHub and check out the core roadmap.
Yeah, exactly. I like the fact that it's Greenhat himself, mentioning that there is the testnet Erg Gold pool, and wanting and asking for volunteers. So by all means, jump on there. There is a nice sort of step-by-step guide to be able to spin those up. So it's pretty simple. Okay, next we have Luivatra. And there's a new name here for the NFT sale tool, Pratir. Hopefully I pronounced that right. The back end is practically being completed. We'll leave it to the front end soon to see what is missing. And the features consist of easily creating NFT sales. NFTs can be sold in packs. So for a discount can be given when buying a pack of 5, for instance. Each NFT can have a weight deciding the odds of this NFT being picked. There's an INO that could potentially be implemented by creating a set of vesting keys that incorporate image NFTs, metadata, and sold through that tool itself. That's nice, mate. Thank you. I think that's one thing that's kind of been missing in our ecosystem for a little while. Then on Paideia, the endless task of polishing the front end is ongoing. The UI is getting smoother by the day, which is good to see. The back end is still being worked on and has secured some extra funding so they can properly finish the MVP without rushing a buggy product to market, which is good to see.
That's good to see.
And next up, we have MHS and the all well-awaited for Rosen Bridge update.
All right, so it looks like Rosen Bridge has been undergoing the public test. It was almost ready to deploy the public test, but we encountered 2 weird bugs in the watchers. It took more than 10 days to find and fix those 2 bugs. Now we are reiterating the test scenarios, and when finished, we'll start the deployment. The tests are semi-automatic and will not take much time in this stage. Relevant to public tests during this time, a lot of different features have been added to the bridge, like better logging, necessary API for statistics and transaction tracking will be used in the UI, some optimizations and mempool tracking. It looks like they've added support for Postgres and some refactor and query optimizations, the config optimizations. They've updated Koios interfaces. They fixed issues with the cold storage. They're fixing issues with the minimum fees in the UI. A lot of optimizations and improvement in the P2P layer. The UI design for WatcherGuard apps started. APIs under test and review. Also, they're working on a pipeline to push their GitLab repos automatically to GitHub in order to have more frequent and regular updates. And just as a cherry on top, for Minotaur wallet, the dApp connector is done and being tested, showing the token burning to the user, and integrating the new UI to the wallet is underway.
Yeah, brilliant update. A lot of people have sort of been awaiting this one, with MHS being a little busy the last couple of weeks, but it's good to see that they did find well, unfortunately, they found the bugs, but they did actually find what they were and implemented a couple of fixes there. And next up, we have Captain Nemo and an update on SigmaFi. So they've added a non-certified token alert badge. They've refactored code base to allow efficient sorting of open orders, added asset price rates from CoinGecko and Spectrum API. They've added some UX improvements, a couple of various small bug fixes, and is finishing the token lending support.
All right, next we have Kushti. Looks like the protocol and reference clients have been under development. He pushed 5.05 and 5.06. That has a small initial chunk of the bootstrapping with UTXO snapshot merged, as working towards polishing bootstrapping with it in a PR. So he started bootstrapping with NepoPal as a PR. It looks like he's reviewing different PRs in Scripto and Sigma on other matters. He reviewed again the Sigma Finance bonds contract. It looks good. He's reviewing SigmaO options contract. He proposed to switch testnet gold oracle to nano ergs per kilo of gold, and looks like that was implemented. And reviewing the Dexy test, considering payout options. So awesome to see.
Yeah. Just getting his head around the bonds contracts, and then obviously getting familiar with that, and then jumping into options and stuff and trying to make that switch in the mindset. Yeah, clever man to be able to read all this stuff on the fly. Okay, next up we have Grand Gambit. So not much from him. Has had to dedicate more time to his job. So the rebranding has needed a lot of time. It's looking great, mate. Thank you for the update. He's also working on allowing the user to do faster plays. Can probably expect this feature within about a week, approximately. Probably better just to say soon.
Soon.
Working on allowing to turn down the volume of the roulette while it's spinning, just with a simple slider. After that, wants to add a gambling addiction section to help some people with gambling issues. That's always sort of a touchy subject, and it's good to address, make people aware. Probably after all these points, start looking for some RNG, random number generation, in a decentralized way. Reach out to the NightOwl guys, because they've got a couple of solutions there.
Yep. And speaking of NightOwl, looks like they're back. Looks like after running into some delays that caused a slowdown in development, we've made a lot of progress these last couple of weeks and can't wait to share with the world. Looks like the back end is ready for beta release. The front end was moved to next.js. Working on integrating the front end and the back end, and they're moving the coin flip and lottery to the new Next.js version of NightOwl. So it looks like we have two casinos.
Yeah, it's great to see. Drive that innovation and push it forward, and hopefully have some cross collaboration there, especially being open source for NightOwl and a couple of RNG solutions already. Okay, so next up we have Hailypdll and the SigmaO project. So there's a single contracting implementing call and put options is now used. Still improving the option pricing formula and trying to produce a benchmark against Black Skull's pricing, and is studying to use Spectrum's liquidity pool boxes as Oracle for Erg token price pair.
Nice. All right, next it looks like we have Cheese with Lithos. Actually, they just had a Twitter space today. Hopefully somebody can save that recording so it doesn't get buried, because I showed up late and missed the first part. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in the community that would love to catch up on what Cheese and Rob are up to. So it looks like they started work on the new transaction building library for Scala, which is based off the app kit. And that allows us reusable pieces of off-chain code to be attached to boxes and contracts. It looks like it's generally cleaner and more concise when compared to using the app kit from Scala. This library is almost done, though it'll still need work in terms of the documentation and modify a few methods. So Lithos Protocol's first open source drop is called Mutations. And yeah, it looks like open source library for off-chain code. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, recommend anyone to jump in and listen to that Twitter space also. I'll have to have a chat with a couple of people and see if we can get it up on that SigmaCast as a podcast. So it's always great listening to Cheese and Rob, a wealth of knowledge on the mining front, and explaining what the Lithos concept and the protocol is all about there. It's just a quick little update here from MGpai and on ErgoSapiens. So on the contracts, the AVL stuff within the contracts has been completed and should finish the contracts this week.
All right. We go on to Blitz. So it looks like that Blitz, the game development is still ongoing. The dev partner is working on refining the basic code foundation needed for matchmaking. It looks like Mick is refocusing a bit of time on some partnership endeavors, as well as providing guidance for the 11 plus artists on what is needed to wrap up the remaining 50 cards or so. Later this month, more focus will be put on the website and its related code, because team members that oversees that will be back in action. Looks like he expects to continue his own coding efforts later in the month as well, slow and steady. Awesome.
That's it. Just keep forging ahead. The caravan keeps moving on, and before we know it, we'll have everything sort of running up there on the BlitzTCG side. I love how they're going about things, sort of self-funded and everything. And the artwork's just fantastic. It's got some great artists there. Next up, we have a non-real in the auction house. So they've moved their artwork file server to a new, faster one. Constantly test the minting, listing, bidding, and withdrawal processes every few code commits. So, for example, listing and bidding on sell to the highest bidder was tested successfully this week in various configurations. Fixed a UI bug that was causing auction cards to crash in the case of no artwork file URL available. Improved artwork minting processes so that the user can choose traits that they already have assigned to other artworks of the collection that they want to mint in that artwork. They fixed a UI bug that was causing search results not showing artwork images sometimes. So they'll also show more information about an artwork or collection when they appear in a search result, e.g. the collection of an artwork or the number of artworks inside a collection. They're preventing the user to choose past times for the start or end of an auction. And they've added an API which has been needed, so they're getting a collection by ID of one of their artworks. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it looks like it. Awesome update.
Yeah, another nice update. Obviously, with the holidays and things, people have taken some time away and everything like that, and everyone's starting to come back in and provide their updates, which is great to see. And for anyone wanting to jump onto the ErgoHack, by all means, jump onto the ergohack.io website for more information and registrations and everything along those lines.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to ErgoHack 6. And we also have this Node 6.0 roadmap that's still kind of chugging along in the background. So I believe we have a community chat for that this week. Hopefully it's an ongoing discussion, and we figure out the best path forward long term for Ergo and kind of the core protocol.
Yeah, that's a good thing to raise, actually. There is the 6.0 discussion, which is bi-weekly, and
yep.
the EIP discussion as well, which is on alternating weeks of when the 6.0 doesn't fall, etc. So every Friday at 2, I think it is, PM UTC, jump onto Discord and join in those discussions, because it helps everyone moving everything forward.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope people join.
Yep, most definitely. All right, mate. It's been a pleasure once again bringing the developer update to all the viewers. Joe, it's been another great time chatting once again. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Yep. Have a good one.